You know the feeling, right? You're deep in your work, totally in the zone, and then, bing, another meeting invite pops up. And that little sigh, that thought, ugh, not another meeting. Yeah, we've all been there. But what if that very thing we all dread is actually a massive, hidden opportunity? Okay, let's get into it. Look, the legendary Stephen R. Covey absolutely nailed it. Meetings have become this default setting for pretty much everything. And way too often, they're just a giant black hole for our productivity. This isn't just a hunch, it's a huge problem, and it's costing us way more than we think.
So how much are we talking about? Get ready for this. Somewhere between 30 and 50% of all the time we spend in meetings is completely wasted. Just let that sink in for a minute. That means for every single hour you're sitting in a meeting, you might as well have just thrown away up to 30 minutes of it. It's just gone.
To figure out how we can reclaim all that lost time, we're diving into the ideas from George Stephen Cotcher's book, Not Another Meeting. And his whole point is that the damage from these bad meetings goes so much deeper than just a few lost hours on the clock. So what's the real damage here? Well, the book breaks it down into 5 major hidden costs that are quietly, almost secretly, eating away at companies from the inside. Let's take a look. Right, so we're talking about way more than just being bored. We're looking at a huge financial drain, a complete loss of control over projects, a serious emotional toll that leads right to burnout, the birth of a toxic whining culture, and, maybe worst of all, stalled progress that lets your competition just fly right by you. And check this out. This is where the financial cost becomes so real you can't ignore it. The book has this tool called the COWTIM calculator that stands for Cost of Wasted Time in Meetings. And for a pretty average company with just 10 meetings a week, you're looking at a loss of almost $500,000 a year. That is a massive financial leak that most companies don't even realize they have. And you know, it's not just about the money. What happens when meetings are a total mess? Action items just vanish into thin air. Risks get ignored. No one writes down the final decisions. It's pure chaos. And that leads directly to that third cost, the emotional toll. Constant, frustrating meetings just drain the life out of you. They destroy your work-life balance, and they're a fast track straight to burnout. And all that frustration, it doesn't just go away. It starts to fester, and it creates this toxic culture of blaming and finger-pointing. Instead of solving problems, everyone's just complaining. And this leads to the point George Cotcher makes so perfectly right here. A whining culture is not a winning culture. Okay, I know that all sounds pretty grim, I get it, but this is where everything changes. This is the big aha moment of this entire explainer. What if we've been looking at meetings all wrong? Seriously, what if meetings themselves are not the actual problem? What if the very thing that's causing all this pain is actually the key to fixing everything? So George Cotcher gives us this incredible metaphor. He says the way a company runs its meetings is like the rudder on a giant ship. Think about it. It's a small, almost insignificant-looking part, right? But that little rudder is what determines the direction of the entire vessel. So the big takeaway is, it's not that you have meetings, it's how you run them. To really get this, we have to understand what company culture actually is. It is not the cheesy motivational poster in the break room. It's the sum of every little action and process that happens every single day. So, if you want to change your culture, you have to change those daily actions. And there it is. That's the punchline. Fixing your meetings isn't just about saving time. It's one of the most powerful levers you have to reshape your entire company culture. Okay, so if meetings are the rudder, how do we actually grab the wheel and start steering this ship? Well, the good news is, it comes down to 4 really simple, practical steps that anyone, and I mean anyone, can start doing today. The first 3 are super straightforward. First, just eliminate any meeting that doesn't absolutely need to happen. Second, for the ones you do keep, make them shorter. Remember Parkinson's law. Work expands to fill the time you give it. So, just give it less time. And third, be absolutely ruthless with that invite list. Every single person in that room needs to have a crystal clear reason for being there. So for that first step, eliminate, you just need to ask one magic question. Could this be an email? Seriously, just pausing to ask that one little question can clear up huge chunks of your calendar. And finally, for those few essential meetings that actually make it past those first 3 filters, the 4th step is simple. Plan them and run them like an absolute pro. The difference is night and day. You can actually trade all that chaos for clarity and frustration for a real sense of progress.
But let's be real for a second. Knowing what you should do and actually getting it to stick, those are two totally different things, right? Lasting change needs a real plan, a structured way to get from where you are now to that better place.
Now, to make this change permanent, the book lays out this fantastic roadmap called the Corporate Change Pyramid. It's a proven path that starts with just identifying the problem and getting your leadership on board. From there, you communicate the vision, you empower champions to lead the charge, you implement and adjust as you go, and finally, you lock in those new habits until they just become how we do things around here.
So, what this all boils down to is a simple but really powerful choice. A choice that lets you take immediate action and get control of your time, starting right now.
I want to leave you with just one question. Go ahead, pull up your calendar right now. Find the very next meeting you have scheduled, and ask yourself this. Is that meeting an expense, just draining away time and money? Or is it a true investment that's actually going to deliver a real return? The power to decide which one it is in your hands.
If you're ready to start steering your own ship, you can head over to notanothermeeting.com and schedule a totally no-pressure strategy call. And when you do, you'll also get 2 great free resources, that cow time calculator we looked at earlier, and a guide with 5 hot tips for facilitators. It's an awesome first step to turning all that wasted time into the most valuable time of your week.